Parents, listen up to this next story because there's a stunning new study that shows that environmental factors may play a bigger role in causing autism than genetics do. The new findings contradict decades of research on a condition affecting more than 1 million Americans and could mark a major shift in how we treat and prevent it. Dr. Robert Melillo is a specialist in functional neurology. He's also the founder and executive director of Brain Balance Achievement Centers. Doctor, great to have you here.
Thank you.
Doctors have called this study a game changer. So it apparently looked at identical and fraternal twins. What did it reveal?
Yes. Well, you know, as you said, for the last 2 decades, we've been looking at this problem as purely genetic, which means that, you know, there isn't really that much we can do about it, or at least the thought is that it wasn't that. And 95% of the money over the past 25 years in research has been looking at the bad gene, but we've yet to find it. And so this is really significant because it means that the environment plays a bigger role. And that's what this study showed, that environment played almost twice the role of a factor in this disorder.
And I guess the way they figured that out is because they figured out that fraternal twins also have a higher incidence of autism. And that means that it must be something happening in utero, I would assume, or at birth, because they're not genetically identical. They're different.
Right. The fact that this was something that they looked at fraternal and identical twins, and yet they saw that there was, you know, an increased risk that it must be something in the prenatal environment or something that's affecting the expression of the mother's genes.
Does this lend credence to the theory that many parents of children with autism hold, and that is that there's some pollutant or some sort of medication that happens and interrupts the regular development?
Well, the fact that we've gone from 1 in 10,000 children with autism less than 20 years ago to now less than 1 in 100 probably, 1 in 70 boys, would lead us to believe that this epidemic is being driven by an environmental factor, and that's what people have been saying for a long time. But yet we've had this other research saying, no, it's purely genetic. So this really tells us that, yes, there are probably environmental factors that are driving this, and this really changes it because it means that we may be able to prevent it and even cure it.
And what does that mean for pregnant women? Is there anything that they should be doing differently today?
You know, we don't know enough, unfortunately, as to what these factors actually are because there hasn't been enough research into it. But we do know that stress hormone levels may be very significant, and this may have something to do with affecting the expression of genes that build what we call functional connections, especially between the two sides of the brain. There was just research came out of Israel 2 weeks ago showing that even in young toddlers, you can see that there's desynchronization between the two hemispheres. And this seems to be the problem that's causing almost all the symptoms.
Wow, so interesting. Obviously.